Commissioner Randy Ambrosie is confident in expansion plans. So it's no secret that many within the CFL and outside as well have been pushing for a league expansion, me as one of them, as there are currently an odd number of teams. While the connection between fans and overall entertainment value has been on the decline, adding another franchise could help grow both components again and create opportunities for additional media attention. Recently, CFL Commissioner Randy Ambrosie discussed the expansion topic in a conversation with Joey Alfieri, a content provider for the Montreal Alouettes. Ambrosie was very enthusiastic about it, claiming that on a scale from 1 to 10, the chances of CFL growing in size were 11. Oh, so we are 110% instead of 100%. A large part of the expansion plans involves the Touchdown Atlantic series, which we just covered on the beginning of the show, which was recently brought back for the 2022 season. So Nova Scotia is getting their a game between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Montreal Alouettes. Touchdown Atlantic first launched in 2005 and is designed to bring the football world to Canadians' maritime provinces. However, only 5 total games have been played since its inception, 4 of which have been in Montco, New Brunswick. This year, a matchup between the Roughriders and Argonauts will take place in Raymond Field, located at the University of Acadia campus in Wolfsville, Nova Scotia. The last time the Providence hosted the CFL game was over 15 years ago, which also happened to be the inaugural Touchdown Atlantic event. I love that they're doing this. This is fantastic. However, because that was during the preseason, July's game will mark the first time the CFL has been in Nova Scotia for a regular season game. Yes. Besides Touchdown Atlantic making the return, there are other reasons why this expansion could become a reality. Prior to the 2018 Grey Cup, the CFL released plans for a 10th franchise known as the Atlantic Schooners. A team with the same name was founded in 1982, but it failed to secure funding and disbanded just over a year later. With a new ownership group led by Bruce Bowser, Gary Drummond, and Anthony LeBlanc, the hope is that operations could be underway by 2022. But you know what has delayed much of that development? This was tweet back in 2019. Ideally, the Schooners would be playing in Dartmouth, which is part of the Halifax Regional Municipality. However, until a stadium with a sizable capacity is constructed there, collegiate venues in both Halifax and Monarch have been up for consideration as temporary homes. Quebec City, who was also in discussion to host games at one point, while progress has been slow, Ambrosie confirmed in 2021 that the Schooners were still active in their pursuits. Reaching 10 professional teams would be a huge milestone for the Canadian football and would give hope for even further expansion. Ambrosie was asked whether or not 12 teams could be on the table, to which he responded, "You can't get to 12 until you get to 10. It seems as if Ambrosie is focused on short-term goals right now, which could still end up taking many years depending on what happens to the Schooners. Regardless of the time frame, though, the thought of growing is being taken very seriously by the league. And here's the thing, my friends. This is where the conversation needs to happen. Not changing the league from 3 downs to 4 downs as FUD spread by the rash. This is the conversation that needs to happen, is expansion. My issue has nothing to do with the rules. Y'all can talk about what rules changes, 3 downs. That's all junk. And I'm tired of hearing about that conversation. This is where the conversation needs to be. Expansion. There's 2 things that the CFL needs to do, in my opinion. Expansion and not be on TSN exclusively. If the NFL games are on CTV, is what I'm understanding. I don't live in Canada, so I don't know. But I believe NFL games are on there. Those are the 2 things. Stop talking about marketing. Stop talking about, oh, we're going to get so much money from gambling revenue and that's going to fix. No. Stop worrying about how old the thing is. You need to not have NFL games on a channel that should have CFL games on. That's number 1. Number 2 is expansion. That will always help the league because that generates excitement. One of the negative aspects of the CFL is that they do play a lot of games more than the NFL, and they only have so many teams to go around. So they play each other like 8 times. That's going to hurt. Expansion brings in a new fan base, gets people excited in an area, pulls them in, gets them interested in the CFL. Having games on national television instead of sports TSN, that also needs to happen. And I'm going to throw a third one out that needs to happen. And this could depend on the success of the XFL and USFL in the United States. I believe, and this is what the narrative needs to be, forget talking about 3 downs and 4 downs. If the CFL really wants to start cranking, making money, getting players to get paid, there is a huge market in the United States for gambling on football. If the USFL and XFL prove this to be true, remember, they won't be playing at the same time as the CFL is. If the CFL, and this isn't the 1990s or 80s, whenever that expansion from Baltimore happened, whenever that was, we are in a completely different, this is 2022, we're in a completely different world now. Now is the time to expand to get that Atlantic Schooners team in place. And if in the next 2 to 3 years, it is determined that the XFL and USFL is a legit thing and making money, television networks in the United States will look to something else to fill the void. Because if fans are into football, like they are in the United States, and are willing to gamble and all this other stuff, and the money is there, money talks, and bringing 3-down football to the United States should be something that is on the table. They have the relationships with Redbird Capital and the XFL. The XFL has the relationships with the NFL and broadcast partners. These guys could work something out. I'm not saying they should merge their teams or anything like that. No. I'm saying the CFL should go it alone back in the United States. That should be the long-term plan. Global expansion and bring it into the United States. It could work. The fact that fantasy football, as we are bringing News Hub Fantasy, is doing CFL fantasy football, that's going to bring in the younger demographic, gambling is, and making it the content available. If your content is, trust me, as somebody who runs XFL News Hub, I can tell you, when games are on ABC, national television, traffic to the site is way higher, even if games are on ESPN, sports channel. I am telling you, and we're going to see these numbers with the USFL as well. I'm glad that Randy Ambrosie is talking about expansion. Hopefully we've got you-know-what behind us, and we can start talking about that instead of switching things from 3 down to 4 downs, because that, my friends, is just a bunch of FUD.